Decades ago, Kris Kristofferson began suffering from mysterious health problems. What's even worse is that Kris got seriously misdiagnosed by his doctors. He's gone all these years without proper treatment, and the real truth about Kris and what's really wrong with him is shocking. Kris is the songwriter behind legendary hits like Me and Bobby McGee. He was also a movie star next to famous leading ladies, including Barbra Streisand.
Hey, give her lights.
But when Kris appeared at the Hollywood Bowl with Roseanne Cash in April 2023, his appearance was heartbreaking. Sources with inside knowledge say it's a miracle that Kris can still walk around, let alone sing a duet in front of 17,000 people. There's one side of the story of Kris's serious health issues, and then there's the real truth. His world started crashing down in 2006 when he had a starring role in a movie called Disappearances.
Listen here. We won't have any trouble finding out what we want to find out.
The movie might not be well remembered, but sources allege that something happened to Kris behind the scenes that changed his life forever. Kris's wife is Lisa, and she believes that Kris got infected with Lyme disease during the making of the movie in the backwoods of Vermont. Lyme disease is such a crippling illness, it's got its own website support community called LymeDisease.org. In the fall of 2016, Kris and Lisa's interview appeared on the Lyme disease website. Lisa described the many years that Kris had suffered from terrible symptoms that weren't diagnosed properly. She told the interviewer, Dana Parrish, that Kris had massive, painful spasms all over his back and legs, and she called that horrible. But it gets worse, and it's hard to imagine. Lisa explained that Kris's damaged nerve endings caused golf ball-sized, painful contractions, and they tried everything from heat treatments, massage, and acupuncture to a cortisone shot in Kris's spine, and even an antidepressant to try and relieve his symptoms. Lisa said the worst symptoms dragged on, and Kris was unable to work because of the pain. She also explained how and why she believed this had happened to Kris. When Kris was shooting Disappearances, Lisa revealed that Kris had spent 6 weeks in the woods in remote Vermont, and he was on the forest floor for much of the shoot. Because Lyme disease is contracted by humans from infected ticks, Kris would have been very exposed to these ticks in the forest during the making of the movie. But shockingly, Lisa claimed that the doctors in Malibu, where they lived at the time, didn't know enough about Lyme disease. Lisa added that Kris wasn't correctly tested for Lyme disease until 2016, an entire decade later. Rolling Stone also interviewed Kris in 2016 and revealed other symptoms he'd been experiencing. What was happening to Kris then sounded really frightening. According to Rolling Stone, Kris couldn't even remember what he was doing from one moment to the next. His loss of memory shocked Kris so badly that he started writing a song about it, but then he forgot about writing the song. Lisa took Kris to doctor after doctor, and he was generally told the same things, but shockingly, it wasn't the real truth. Every doctor claimed that Kris's memory loss was due to Alzheimer's disease, or maybe dementia, since Kris had boxed and played football earlier in his life and got a few blows to his head. Lisa also revealed in the interview with Dana that Kris was told that he had severe sleep apnea and a heart condition called arrhythmia, which is an irregular heartbeat. Kris was prescribed a CPAP machine for his supposed sleep apnea, but Lisa said that he refused to use the machine after one try. Kris also got a pacemaker for the heart condition, and Lisa said that he took so much Advil for headaches that he got anemic. She told Rolling Stone that Kris was taking all these medications for things he didn't have, and she alleged that all those medications had side effects that also affected him. Kris has been through many serious health challenges in his life, and Rolling Stone described one shocking incident between Kris and Lisa outside an operating room. This happened in 1999, years before Kris allegedly got infected with Lyme disease in Vermont. He had to undergo heart bypass surgery, and on his way to the operating room, the doctor made an unbelievable suggestion. According to Kris, the doctor told him and Lisa that this would be a good place to say goodbye. Lisa told the doctor, "I hope it's not goodbye," but Kris actually said, "So what if it is?" Thankfully, he made it through his heart bypass surgery. By 2015, Lisa had grown frustrated with how badly Kris was doing. She told Dana, after a year of iron supplements and seeing a hematologist, he just wasn't healthy looking. So Lisa took a drastic step. She booked an examination for Kris with Dr. Mark Fility at the Whitaker Wellness Institute, and the results of that examination were truly shocking. After examining Kris and watching the constant twitching of his forearm muscle, Dr. Fility concluded that Kris had Lyme disease. And 2 blood tests later, he finally received a proper diagnosis in February 2016. Lisa was even more shocked at what happened to Kris after he stopped taking other medications for Alzheimer's and depression and started treatment for Lyme disease. She told Rolling Stone, all of a sudden, he was back. Although Lisa admitted there are still bad days. OK Magazine updated us on Kris's his health in April 2023. Since the outbreak of the pandemic in 2020, Kris claimed he was officially retired and living with Lisa in Hawaii. In the OK article, the writer claimed that Kris was living his brave last days and he was still battling Lyme disease. But Kris didn't sound like he was done with living just yet. He told OK, "I spend most of my time on my tractor, mowing the grass around there." Kris called it his therapy and joked, "No one can mess with me on the tractor." Kris also recalled exciting times as a young man, like when he won a Rhodes Scholarship to study at Oxford University in England. He said, "I got to get really involved in William Blake and Shakespeare." After studying at Oxford, Kris became a U.S. Army helicopter pilot. During his service in West Germany, Kris formed a band, but after 6 years in the military, he left the Army for good. Shockingly, Kris told OK that his parents were so angry about him quitting the Army that they actually disowned him. And Kris also told a sad tale about his relationship with the legendary Janis Joplin. He said, "I guess Janis doing Bobby McGee was one that moved me profoundly." Kris confessed that he'd had a romantic relationship with Janis before she passed away. And the first time Kris heard Janis's cover of Bobby McGee, he said, "It blew me away." But sadly, Janis was already gone. Lisa is Kris's third wife. He was married to Fran Beer and Rita Coolidge before that. He also has 8 children. During his Rolling Stone interview, Kris claimed, "I really have no anxiety about controlling my own life." Kris also admitted to feeling lucky that his life had lasted for so long, and he said, "I've done so many things that could have knocked me out of it." Kris appears to believe in a higher power. He said, "I just always have the feeling that he knows what he's doing. It's been good so far, and it'll probably continue to be." The OK article claimed that Kris is more realistic about his current direction in life, and that he already has the words he wants for his tombstone. The words are from an acclaimed song by Leonard Cohen called "Bird on a Wire." It goes, "Like a bird on the wire, like a drunk in a midnight choir, I've tried in my way to be free." Did you know about Kris's serious health challenges and the many times he was misdiagnosed? Have you ever seen the movie Disappearances? Let me know in the comments below.